Hello, this is Joshua for Frost Dragon Designs, and today I'd like to talk to you about my Knife Cat Hard Enamel Pin. The Knife Cat is part of my monthly Cute Cat Pin subscription club. Every month, members of the club get a new cute cat pin sent to them directly in the mail. If you join the club anytime before the end of August 2025, the first pin you'll receive is the Knife Cat. Now let's get into the design. I haven't released many of these yet, but this is a new body archetype I'm going to be using for cats. I kind of call it like the wide body cat, although that's not really true. I mean, it looks like it's got like wide legs or wide hips or whatever, but if you've ever owned a cat, if you were to pick this cat up, those legs would stretch out and it would become quite the long kitty. This is basically what a cat looks like when they're, squatting. Or just like casually standing up on their hind legs. So you'll be seeing, more cats with a body type similar to this as I, slowly incorporate this into my stable of standardized cats that I use as bases. Anyway, so Knife Cat is an internet meme. I've seen a couple different versions of it. I think the original one was like a cat with a knife pointed at it, and the cat did not look impressed. It's kind of like the cat was being mugged, and the cat didn't care. Anyway, it was pretty funny. It was kind of a, like I said, it was an internet meme. People have made other pins and T-shirts and everything else of their rendition of Knife Cat, and it's basically at this point it's devolved into any cat with a knife, it seems. Preferably like a chef's knife, like a long kitchen knife. Think like a steak knife, but bigger. And so, I've seen this done a couple different ways. Most often I see it with the cat carrying a knife in its mouth. That's cute. It's a fun look, but I decided that I wanted my cat to be holding the knife. Like maybe this cat was chopping something up in the kitchen and you looked at it the wrong way. I don't know. I just really liked the idea of this cute little cat being agitated and holding the knife. I don't know, probably the most easily agitated cat I have ever owned in my life was the smallest cat we've ever had. Her name was Minnie. She was the smallest cat. My mom named her. And she was just so feisty with all the other cats. If she was not in the mood for it, you knew it. If she didn't want to be pet, you did not pet that cat. And so it's that attitude and spirit of Minnie that I was trying to bring into this particular pin design. And, another thing that I just generally find interesting about this particular design is, it's fairly simple looking overall, but I feel like I spent a fair amount of time making sure like the anatomy felt like it made sense or that the pose felt like it made sense. And that happens, I feel like more often, the simpler a design is, the more time I spend hemming and hawing over, some minute detail in the pose or the positioning, or the scale of a particular element. Like I'll make it slightly bigger or slightly smaller over and over until I find something that, has the right look to me. And I think that makes sense as I'm saying it out loud here, because like I only have a certain amount of focus, right? As a human, I can only focus on so many things at once. And the simpler a design is, like the fewer elements to a design, the more of my focus each element would receive, right? I think that makes sense. I'm saying this like for the first time as I'm recording this, and I think that makes sense why sometimes simpler designs are more challenging, because there aren't a ton of details to hold your focus in other areas of the image. So you really focus in on the core, the basics, really. And so, I got pretty happy with this design, but as I'm like staring at it, I felt restless, I guess. Like my eye didn't feel like it had a place to rest properly. Yes, the knife was kind of a central focus, but the way it juts out from the main mass of the pin, it felt weird, I guess. And that's when I got the idea for the headband, the bandana, whatever we're calling it. And it just kind of reminded me of like, 1980s movies, people knife fighting in the streets, like the ridiculousness of all that. At least I hope it's ridiculousness. If you've ever been in a knife fight, I'm sorry for you. That sounds terrifying. Not something I would want to do. I'm quite content just trying to not get cut while I'm chopping vegetables. But anyway, back to that street knife fighter kind of concept. That's what gave me the idea to do the opossum version of this pin. So there actually is a pair of knife fighters. They oppose each other. You can set them up on your jacket or whatever, like they're about to throw down. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this pin design. I hope you enjoyed hearing a little bit about my thought process while I was creating it. My take on a well-known meme, Knife Cat. And yeah, if you've enjoyed this, please go ahead, like, and subscribe. I would love to have you along for my next video. I try to put out 1 to 2 new videos a week. And yeah, I'd love to have you along for the next one. So thank you again so much for your time, and have a great rest of your day.